Well, I think from a pace side, that was really good. The testing, we're going to look at the scores. Jack's going to break them down for us. I know a couple guys, I've already talked to Jack, he's broken them down. And, there's a couple guys that really improved from the summer, which is what you want to see, and that's why there's a testing protocol. So really happy with the first day for the young guys. I mean, they've got about 5 days or 5 or 6 days to prepare before they're going to play. So for us, it's really about, we talked about the changes. We want to really develop our players. The best way to do that is have a lot of accountability to them, have them execute at a high level, and keep giving them feedback and pushing them to be better players.
Will the fitness test that we saw at the end of this be similar for the veterans when they come in?
It's going to be a little different. They'll actually be doing some testing tomorrow, which would be a lot of similarities to that one.
A couple guys you have out here who have some intriguing futures, certainly. But what do you think of Burakovsky?
I just think he's a young player. He's getting better and better. You just watch him. He's one thing I like about him, he's got a lot of joy in his game. It's hard to explain what that joy means, but he loves to play, and he can execute at a high level. And I think he's enjoying, just getting back. He a little injury during the summer. He's got over that, and I think you're seeing that a young player taking the next step in his development right now.
You talk about putting on 15 pounds, shedding some body fat.
Yep.
I mean, everybody wants to do that, or everybody should at least be trusted to do that. But for him to do that and stay committed to that over the past year and a half, does that speak about his determination?
Yeah, it does. I mean, everybody says, hey, I want to lose some weight, but I haven't. So, and then you come to the camp and you can't catch up. You lose a year in some sense. And once young players realize that, you got to make that commitment to do that, it makes me better, gives me a better chance. It starts falling into their natural DNA, that the way they eat, the way they train, the way they prepare themselves. And that's the transition you want a young player to make from being a good young player to a pro. Having the pro, mindset that, how I live my life off the ice, pro mindset, how I'm going to practice, pro mindset, how I'm going to prepare. So you see those, that's sort of what we're trying to help the players transition to.
Seen in your experience that a 19-year-old is a case-by-case basis, where you see some that can do it and some that were ill-advised to do it?
Yeah. I can give you examples of all those. I mean, every player. The one thing that we have these age limits where you have a player. At 19 he has to go here. I understand that, but players, people, we all develop at different rates, and some players are ready to play at 19 or 20. Other players aren't ready till they're 24. I had a player when I was with the organization before that, a guy like Andrew Burnett, really didn't get his career going until he was 24, and then now all of a sudden he's played, probably 15 years in the league almost. Everybody's a case-by-case situation. But they're also a situation where they would fit in a hockey club too. If you can't get the appropriate minutes for a player, then the player actually doesn't grow. He just sort of regresses and loses confidence. So that's the balancing act organizations have to make when you decide on a young player. If you want long-term success, then it's just getting him in the right place so he can have success, get the minutes, develop, be in that environment where he's going to be there for the long haul, not just he had a great camp and looked like he was going to play and then you don't use him. It's easy to say, and it's easier to say probably in September and October and November than it is in January and February when everything gets kicked up to that little higher level. So those are the things that you have to be cautious of.
The next couple of days, a couple of weeks will determine this. But right now, as you guys come into this period, could you see a role for Burakovsky on the Capitals team?
Yeah, every year there's players that are going to come in. I mean, we've put him in a different position. Yeah. He looked outstanding in the development camp in terms of that transition, and he transitioned because he's got great hockey IQ, and then he's got a real ease about the game. His reading skills and how he sees the game. He's very calm and all those things. So as we play, the exhibition games, he's going to get a good look, and you're going to play with some top-end guys at times, and you're going to play with different sort of roles that you have in your hockey club. But he's a young player. We're gonna make sure that we do the right things and develop. But yeah, he's gonna push forwards. Of what I've seen of development camp and how he keeps growing, he's gonna push some people to to take notice. And the other guy is Kuznetsov. He's sort of gotten quiet here, because he wasn't at development camp. He's come in early. I've been here for a couple months now. He's been skating every day. He's put on weight. You could tell Kuzi's got an ease about him now, that he's comfortable being in Washington. And right now we're not even really talking about him, but he's a guy that you better keep an eye on. I think he's showing some great skills. Everybody knows his skill set. We'll talk to him about the transition over here in the smaller rinks, and he's very well aware of it. And so we talked about there's more of those battle areas that you tend to not have maybe in Europe, where he's got to try to excel and get better at that, because he just hasn't had as many reps as everybody else there. So we're going to try and get those reps in, but his skill level and his, he's put on the weight and size and strength that I'm excited at him at center. And I think the other guy that I talked about going to center ice too is Johansson. And Marcus is a player that's, he's played center, he's played left wing, he's played right wing, they move him around. He's at that age at 24 where there should be a bump up in his game now, where he's not a young player, he's a veteran player. So I expect him to bump up his game as well.
Talk about the challenge of essentially auditioning for a new coach while still trying to keep your nerves in check and stuff like that. Is that something that you ever talk to the kids about, or is that something that you take notice of when you're up there watching?
Well, we just try to, that's why we try to I've talked to pretty well almost all the veteran players, and I've talked to a lot of the young guys who are here for development camp. I'm working my way through some of the guys that I haven't met that, maybe played in Hershey a little bit. I've talked to the Connor Carricks and the Ways of the world. Just telling them what I'm thinking, what I saw in their games, and being honest of where they stand and some of the battles they may face to make the hockey team. At the same time, who they may be going against to make the hockey team. So trying to be as clear and get to know guys. I want to be able to know where they came from, have an open door. I've got certain foundations and rules where I'll be very firm on, but at the same time, I want to help those players grow their game as well.
Speaking of Chandler, where do you see his development?
Who's this?
Chandler Stevenson.
Chandler Stevenson. I like the way he plays. He's got a very mature game. He plays a pro game. You watch him. He distributes the puck pretty well. He's got good vision. He's got a really good release. He really can release the puck. He's a guy that, the extra step, that's why the testing's so important for a young guy. Where's Chandler Stevenson from where he was in the summer camp to where he is in September, where he's going to be in January. So he has the ability to be a little bit quicker and see improvements in all areas of strength and quickness and that. But I see him being a pretty good guy, pressing for I would say right now he's probably on the outskirts of making the team based on where I think we are in depth at forward. But I think he's on a verge to be a pretty good role in Hershey. And if you're a good role in Hershey, they're going to be knocking at the door early in the season as a depth player who, if we have some injuries, he could fill in.
Do you have an update on how Tom Wilson and Dimitri Orlov are coming along?
Yeah, they're coming along. They're. I know that both of them are skating. Tom got cleared to skate the other day, so he's doing that. I talked to him the other day, and he's feeling good. He knows he's a little bit behind the eight ball, so he's got it ramped up pretty good. I think he's pretty determined to get back as quick as possible, and same with Orlov. So there's still a little bit of open time frame. I'm hoping towards the end of the camp they'd be able to go here. So, but there's no exact time frame right now.
The end of the preseason?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I'm hoping to get them in at the end of the preseason right now, but they're both young guys. Hopefully they recover quickly. Yeah, not like us old guys. I don't have that anymore.
With Orlov, are you at all worried that he may be behind some of the other guys who have been here?
Well, I think I saw a lot of Orlov, him playing. I think he's going to be fine in all. He's skating, he's doing that. It's just getting the hands and the confidence back from that injury. I think it'll take a couple games for him to feel comfortable, to be able to do all those things that you do with a lot of dexterity with your hands. So the other parts of his game, I don't think he'd be behind.
With Orly kind of a question mark, how do you see Schilling fitting into this training?
Well, I think it's there's a lot of guys that are really, the one guy that everybody forgets about, who's if Orly were to not be ready for the start of the season, I mean, there's still two pretty good veteran defensemen in Jack Hillen and John Erskine that can come in that hole and do that. And I had Jack in Nashville. He's a pretty good player, and I know what he can do. And I don't know John that well because of not having him, but he brings a different element to the group. I think what we did in the summer puts a lot less emphasis on and worry who gets the other spot or gets in there. But there's a group of guys, and they're all those guys that played those 25, 30 games last year. The Connor Carricks, the Schillings, the Ways, all those guys, the Schmitz. They're all in that fold. There's a couple other guys that there's always a surprise at camp every year. So there's a big group of guys we're going to have to filter through a little bit.
So how's Ray coming along?
He's good. I talked to him today. He's a very dedicated kid. He's a little quiet with me. He doesn't know me yet, so but he's very respectful. We talked about his game. His strength is going to be around the hard areas, that first pass out of his zone. He's probably not an offensive defenseman, maybe like Carrick is, but he'd be more of the Orpik Alsner type of player, and he recognized what his strengths are, and he's going to try to play to his strengths in camp.
Earlier Alex cited he asked you about your plans for left wing, right wing for him. Where do you envision Ovechkin playing?
Actually, both. And I've sort of told that to Alex, that I really, his strength, the left side, he's good on the left side. I mean, there's no question. I want him to develop his games so he can play both sides. He did. We're going to go into camp. I'm going to probably say I'd be leaning more to left than right. He moves his feet better on that side. He's able to go laterally better. And I said I want to play him more on that side, but I want to clean up some things in his own end by allowing him to do that on that side and play that side. So he's willing. He's very willing to do that. We had some great conversations today. I see a little bit of different Alex Ovechkin. I think there's a quiet calmness and a quiet sort of focus. I don't know him as well as you guys do or his teammates, but I got a little sense of that from just talking to some people, that there's he's got good focus, which is great to hear.
Play more defensively. Can you get him to play more defensively?
Well, there's so much played on that. You have to manage. You have to manage that right. I mean, the things that Alex does as a player, I can't teach him. There's not very many. There's no one that really can teach him that. That's the special part. The stuff that he can get better, so he can get the puck more, so he can do the things that he does. I can teach him that, and all he has to do is just understand that there's some detail that will get him the puck more, or his teammates to get him the puck more, and simply in the simplest form is, I think this team with the puck can do some really good things, and especially Alex. I want him to have the puck. I want us to hang on to the puck. When we don't have it, I want to have a really good plan and a really good work ethic to get it back quickly, so we can have it again and do what I think is a strength for our players. So I want us to have a puck, and Alex can help that as well. But it's we focus so much on Alex, and there's some guys that are good defensively. I need some more offense out of them. We never talk about that. In the media, it's always the offensive part. But there's guys that have, I think in this game, and not only this team but other teams, that they're good defensively, but they can give some more offense too. So I'm not just going to focus on Alex. I'm going to focus on some of the defensive guys who can add some of the offense to their defense. So it goes both ways. It's not just Alex. So.
Was there a perception that you had of Alex that has changed since you've gotten to know him?
Yep, absolutely. I think perception's reality, and when your perceptions is one way, When you don't know people and you don't know the situation, it's easy to be very judgmental and make assumptions. And once you know people and get to know them, and I think get to know what makes them tick and what they're passionate about, and those things, you get to talk to them about certain things, you see a different light in people. And I have absolutely a totally different perception on that. That's why it's easy to make opinions. Everybody's got an opinion when you don't know the situation. I have not coached Alex Ovechkin on the ice or for a year, or any of the players, so my perception on every player is probably off a little bit, because we haven't worked together for a long length of time. And that's, if I ever want to know anything about a player, I think the best people to ask are the trainers, because they spend the most time with them. And it's true. I mean, we coaches live and die with players, and what we say sometimes is taken in. What we mean and what players hear are two different things. What I say to the media and what you hear are two different things. When really the simplicity of it is that we're just, we're not maybe articulating it correctly. But absolutely, I have a totally different perception of this whole team. By working with, I'm meeting the players. There's a lot of great people here. We got great fans. There's a lot of good stuff happening. There's a great energy in the room. There's a little bit of uneasiness. I can tell that, but there's great energy, and guys are smiling, guys are working, guys understand that winning's not easy, winning's hard, but when the work becomes easy, when you're doing the work and it's fun and it becomes easy, then you're on the road to success and maybe building championships. Because when coming to work is hard and painful, and that it's hard to win championships, because there's got to be a love for what you do, and there's got to be a love for the process, and there's got to be a love for the group. And to me, my goal is that we're going to work hard, and we're going to have a lot of detail. I think people in the game follow a number of different things. Why is there discipline in the Army? Because people will die if there's not protocols and there's not discipline and there's not an understanding that what I do, that little detail, may cost lives. And that from a military standpoint, in a game, those details cost you goals, and it's way different. But when you that's why I like talking about life things, because it matters to the guy next to you, and what you do on the ice. Just because you said, my sticks, I should put my stick here, I'll let that guy go. It does matter. It matters to the guy next to you, and that's what we want to establish here, that every detail matters to the guy next to you.
You don't slow that guy down, your defenseman might get crushed.
Absolutely. I mean, it is. And, it's sort of I got a lot of thoughts on taking care of people. On and off the ice. I saw a great thing today. Alex working with touching some lives of people with, one of the Cool Cats Hockey Club. They all have one form of disability. I have a son in the sort of the horse in the race there, and I see how he's touching lives. Those are the things that I want Alex to embrace. I want our players to embrace, that they can touch lives with their form. They can touch lives. We play a game for pride, for a city, for an organization, for ourselves. But at the same time, it's entertainment. But it's a hard thing to do, to come to work every day and understand that there's a certain level of expectation from not only myself and my staff, but the fans, but more importantly, your teammates. You got to have your teammates back, and I see a lot of that in the room right now.
Again, Barry, I know you haven't necessarily had a chance to look too much at these guys or work with these guys, or you looked at them, but with Brooks Light, you don't have a lot of film on him from the past 2 years because he hasn't really been healthy.
No.
Where do you envision he fits now in this puzzle?
Well, I think Brooks, from his standpoint, is in some ways he's got to reestablish himself as a productive prominent player because of the injuries. It's not his fault. He's had a tough streak of injuries the last couple of years, and I watched a lot of film on him. I could actually tell after watching a number of games I've seen Brooks play when he was hurt and when he wasn't. And I think for him, I just talked to him about, he's got to be. He's a very detailed guy. He's all in terms of everything he does as a player. I mean, there's not anything he does that doesn't revolve around probably the game. But at the same time, he's got to really concentrate on his game to have a lot of detail in terms of just being productive. He's got to produce now because you've been in a cycle where you've run into some injuries, and you look the last couple of years, he hasn't had much production. But he looks, and talking to him, he feels as healthy as he's been in a long time. I know he's fit. There's never a question about his fitness commitment or his commitment to the game. So I expect a big year from Brooks, and I think from himself, he's got to have that same sense that this is going to be a big year for me. I got to reestablish myself as a real prominent player on this team, and he is, and he can, and I expect that from him. So he's got good focus, and hopefully he can stay healthy and put a real good streak for us together.
How'd that program?
It was fantastic. One of the things about actually, I talked to Alex today. We were talking about different things, and winning championships, and that threw me onto the Calder Cup victory that we had in Portland with that group. And the great thing about winning with the team, I had great memories, a lot of fun. We stayed up. Ole, you can ask Ole, he was there. I thought he popped my rib out from laughing about some of the old stories for a couple days, and I realized I was just laughing so hard, and it was just muscle soreness. But it was funny when you win something with a group of people. I hadn't seen some of those players for 20 years, and it felt like it was only 2 weeks or a month ago that I had seen them. We all look different, obviously, especially me, but it felt really good, and that's the special part of winning something with a group of people. You win something individually, it's great and it's fantastic, but you don't get to share it with a bunch of people. You really don't. It ends up being a smaller group. So that was good memories. We were talking about that, and he talked about even the World Championships, how he's getting that part of the game, which is fantastic, because I think that's sort of the fuel that drives players. Once you win a cup, that's why you see teams are back there again, banging on the door, or that core group banging on the door again pretty quickly. So that's where we want to get to. That's the feeling I want to keep in mind when we're start the season and keep it through the season. That's something I want to do.